Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I'm Monica. As you guys can see, we've got Jade over here. She's out cold, and if you hear the rumblings, that would be Chunk. She is snoring away over here. You just can't see her. And that would be my door slamming open from the wind. I will be right back. I'm going to go shut that. And I am back. Well, nothing happens that isn't meant to happen. And I apologize if the audio goes in and out. I'm still learning to turn my head towards the mic. I'm rusty, guys. Anyway, nothing happens for no reason. Everything that occurs as soon as I hit the record button has to do with why we're here. So instead of doing a pick a card, instead of doing signs readings, we're gathering here today as a collective. There is a ring of fire solar eclipse occurring. I'm filming this on the 1st of October. It should come out tomorrow. This reading should come out tomorrow on the day of the actual solar eclipse, which is set to hit at 1:49 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And with this eclipse, it is in the sign of Libra. We have a incredibly powerful stellium. We have the sun, the moon, the south node, black moon Lilith, and Mercury all in this one sign, all within the sign of Libra, all of which are opposing the north node. Now, this eclipse is not just the stellium energy. This eclipse is actually a closure eclipse. It is an eclipse of what was brought into our lives starting March 25th with the lunar eclipse, the penumbral lunar eclipse in Libra. And that eclipse, I know a lot of people talk about the total solar eclipse that occurred on April 8th. And that was incredibly transformative, incredibly life-changing for so many people, myself included. But it was the March 25th penumbral lunar eclipse that really rocked my entire life. And I remember sitting down and journaling on it for hours on end. The energies were flowing so fast, so intense that it was all I could do to just get pen to paper and get down all the things I was feeling, all the things I was experiencing, all the things I was seeing, the questions my guides were asking, and the visions that were coming one after another afterwards. And I remember breaking down that chart left and right, forward and back, and going, we're not done with this energy yet. This is just the beginning. This energy closes on October 2nd, the day that this reading is set to be released. This closure energy, it's asking us to take a look at the areas of our lives we haven't wanted to. That has been a theme for me. Things I didn't see coming. We can get overly reliant on certain parts of ourselves, our gifts, our confidence, spirit. We can get overly reliant on the physical world. We can get overly reliant on another person. For me, I get overly reliant on doubt. I get overly reliant on doubt to the extent that I like to shut myself off and say, I am not really able to do what I say I can do. There's no way this is real. It's a fabrication. All of these different mentalities. And it wasn't until recently that I started asking myself, why do I do this? Why is it that I can have all of these people who I've never met before tell me that the things that I'm seeing and hearing and feeling and knowing have everything to do with their day-to-day life, with their healing journey, with their spiritual journey. And my brain just goes, no, not a chance. Where is the fairness in that? I got caught up in the doubt, caught up in frustration. How can I be helping so many people and I don't know how to help myself? And I started asking for help. I went to therapy, still going to therapy. I talked to my family members. I made it a constant practice to journal. Anything and everything that I could do to navigate my way through it. And then March 25th rolls around, and all I could experience in that moment was what my ideal life would look like. What would fairness and balance look like to me? And the visions that were coming from me, from some place within me, were of a place I don't know, but my soul does. And it was this place of magic and mystery, of the wilds of mountain and trees and rivers and community. Everyone gifted, and everyone sharing with one another. And in the moment, it was the most magical experience ever. And it became a meditative practice for me when I would get stressed, when I would get frustrated. I would go back to that place that felt so pure. And then I'd wake up and look at my life, look at the world, and wonder, where do we find that? How do we find that? Over time, I lost sight of it as more things piled up, more pains piled up. Traumas from my childhood, traumas from being a mom rose to the surface for me to look at, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to look at any of them, but they kept coming up. And then my body, my physicality, getting lost in the shuffle. Took it for granted, and then I didn't. Over and over and over again, the same themes, things I didn't see coming, things I have no control over, and facing my own mortality. Facing the fact that if we are all alive, then we are all dying. And understanding that the reversal of that is not necessarily true. We may all be alive, but we may not all be living. I wasn't living. I've been sitting here in this energy all day, crocheting a beanie because I needed to keep my hands busy, needed to have something to do, something to create, something to make. And wondering what it is that I'm sitting here to talk about. I'm still wondering what it is that I'm sitting here to talk about because I have no idea whether this message really should go out. I feel like I should just scrap this and start all over again. And usually when I feel that way, those are the most important messages for me to put out. The ones that make me the most uncomfortable. They make my skin crawl with discomfort. When my anxiety gets bad, like it's starting to do right now, I describe it as wanting to peel my skin off to get the feeling that is crawling over my skin off. And it's because I'm doing something that I don't want to be doing. And yet I do want to be doing it at the same time. And that duality is very uncomfortable as well. The energy of this eclipse, this ring of fire eclipse, is asking us to take a look at the areas in which we have not wanted to see the shadow that blocks the fullness of our light, but also to look at the areas of our light that tries to shine so bright that the shadow can't be seen. It tries to drown out the shadow. As much as I want to sit here and talk about my life and share with you guys, there are so many things that are still going on inside of me that I am still navigating my way through, that I'm not entirely certain how to make sense of it one way or the other. I know that I go through phases still, and I will for a very long time, of bursts of grief so vast, so consuming that I can't breathe around them. And I don't know how to function. All I know how to do is cry. And then I will have these uplifting moments, days where everything just feels light and airy and beautiful, and as though healing is really taking hold. And those days can shift into melancholy before I can even blink my eyes. And I'm riding this roller coaster of emotions. And I mention this because Black Moon Lilith is sitting right after the moon, right before Mercury. Black Moon Lilith is asking us to take a look at the areas that we have subjugated ourselves, that we have condemned ourselves to the storylines of others, to the ideations of others, to the notions and the perceptions and the projections, to the villainy of others. Where have we allowed ourselves to say, okay, this is who I am, and the reasoning that we give behind it is because somebody that we love has said that. And if we love that person, then they must be right, so we must be wrong about ourselves. No matter what anybody believes, the stories that are written down that form our basis of religions and beliefs in the world, those stories contain archetypes and wisdom and knowledge for us to look at and say, well, how does that apply to me now? Lilith's story changed many times over the years, and each time seemed to make her darker and darker and worse, portraying her in the light of vindictiveness, contempt, evil. And it wasn't about her standing up to Adam. It wasn't about the sexuality of it. It was about a narrative that was necessary in the world at a given point in time. And that narrative isn't necessary anymore. And that is why her energy started shifting. Black Moon Lilith is essentially the energy of the moon shadow, or the dark side of the moon, the part that we don't look at, the part that we don't see, but we know it exists. Oftentimes, that is exactly how death works. We don't look at it, but we know it exists. All of these energies are opposing the sign of Aries. Aries still has Chiron transiting through. Chiron, who is the wounded healer. If any of you feel drawn to it, I strongly encourage you to look up Chiron's mythology, birth story. However, it wasn't Chiron's story that I was brought to. It was the story of the ram that made up Aries energy. The ram with the golden fleece. And that golden fleece that was given up so that the ram could go and be amongst the stars. Because there was one journey too many, one sacrifice too great. It was the saving of twins and the demise of one of them because they just couldn't hold on to each other tight enough. So one fell, the sister fell, the brother lived. And the ram delivered the brother, skinned itself, and took its place in the stars. Sometimes we go and we try to fulfill something that we are thinking that we're meant to fulfill. Sometimes we are meant to fulfill it, but it doesn't always go the way that we want. Sometimes we are asked to go and help somebody, and the way that we end up helping them looks like it hurts them. Sometimes it does hurt them. Sometimes we get hurt in the process. And we have the choice. Do we continue going down that journey, learning that lesson? The truth is that we're not supposed to intervene unless spirit calls, but we're not supposed to do anything. I know that seems counterintuitive, but intervention doesn't necessarily mean doing. Sometimes intervention just means saying, I love you, I'm here for you. And then establishing a boundary that says, even though I love you and I am here for you, I cannot rescue you. You must rescue yourself. Those are hard lessons, challenges that we have to face. And this world can seem unfair because of it. This eclipse is asking us to really think about what we think of as fairness. How have we relegated ourselves to a storyline that isn't true? How have we walked from something that was meant to bring us back into balance because we felt that sharp stab of the sword of justice? I can't answer any of these questions for you guys. And in fact, I don't even know them for myself. What I do know is that the energies of this moon, the energies of the solar eclipse, of this ring of fire, it's asking us to think about the totality of everything. Sorry, guys. That would be chunk. It's asking us to think about how everything connects. Everything moves in a circular pattern, in a spiral. A spiral is a circle. We go round and around and around. But if we're going around in a circle that has no fire, it has no desire, it has no passion, why are we doing it? Passion tempered needs balance. It needs us to realize that tempering doesn't necessarily mean putting it out. It means realizing that it has the propensity to get out of control. So what I am going to do here, what I was called to do here is first we're gonna take a look at the Death Doula Oracle. You can find this on Etsy. I love this deck. It's incredibly profound. The book comes with not just a synopsis of the cards, but also different rituals and practices that you can use in order to get more in touch with your mortality and your immortality. So we're going to find out the core theme of this eclipse for the collective. All right. We have the card of conjure. I'm going to go ahead and read this out of the book first. I just want to take a look at the card. There's so many different facets to it. So let's pull it up and see. Conjure. Chance does not exist. You shape your reality. Everything leading up to this moment has contributed to what your experience feels like currently. Think of the hand that throws the dice and the events that have affected the tension in the muscles of that hand prior to the dice's roll. Allow your future self to thrive. Conjure, manifest, and influence the situations around you so that you may lay the proper groundwork for your future self to walk upon. I love this. One of the things about this word conjure is over time, certain things have been subject to what I call the telephone game. We have a word and it has its origin point. And over time, it gets melded with different languages, different dialects, different areas, different peoples. And then it becomes melded with different belief systems, connotations, and innotations. And when we do that, we can shift it and change it. And that is what this card talks about. It talks about how we can shift and change and direct and determine what our reality is. And that's something I talked about in my last pick a card with creation and how we are creating our life every single day in every moment, every breath in, every breath out. We are creating our life from that point. But when we think about conjuring, and we think to the past, when we think about conjuring in the past, that now brings forth this energy of negativity for many. For me, it makes me feel alive. We conjure up our ideas. We conjure up our inspiration. We conjure up our stories. But we have to be careful about that. Because what we conjure comes to be. Conjure, much the same as manifestation. What you think, you become kind of notion. So what do you want to conjure? The conjuring energy is the theme that Spirit and our guides want us to know. I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. And I've got the Bird King Tarot here. I just want to get a few cards just to give us a little bit more illumination into this conjure. Okay. We have Temperance, the Four of Cups, and the Prince of Wands. And on the back of the deck, we have the Tower. Now this right here is exactly what I was talking about with the Ring of Fire. Without the temperance, without us realizing that what we're doing is we're conjuring our life, we're building this fire, this ring of fire, and it's warm and it's cozy in the coldest of winter times, and that's great. But if we don't temper it, if we don't calm it, if we don't rein it in and direct the flow of it, it begins to rage like a forest fire. And the destruction of that ends up being far more widespread than we intend. This conjure is asking you to look at the areas of your life where you've wanted to hide yourself away, where you have known that cleansing needs to come in order for inspiration to be welcomed in. This Four of Cups, it's a bullfrog. He looks pissed. He looks absolutely pissed. Question is, why? What happened that brought this frog to this point? Is it because there's a bird in the background seeking to destroy it? Did the bird take from this? Versus Temperance, where we have wonder and awe. Temperance, which is the alchemy card, the card of combining different things in order to create something greater, a healing of profound magnitude. All so that we can learn how to temper that fire and dance our way through life, dance our way into our passions. If we live a life encumbered and entangled by all the ministrations of everybody else, do we ever truly live our life? If we want to get to this point of that divine inspiration, I know where I'm going, and I'm going to go and I'm going to charge off and I'm going to get it. We have to learn how to alchemize the things that cause us pain and fear, how to conjure a new story into our existence. Let's find out how we can do this. I absolutely love these cards. I'm going to 100% suggest that you guys go check it out. You go to Studio Artemy. This is the Arcanum Vitae deck, and it's a dual deck, but the cartomancy in just one of them is just outrageously profound. So it's taken similar to Lenormand cards, but it also has the major arcana, and it's redefining the major arcana, adding a few of them in there. It has a focus on past lives. I love, love, love this deck. I am not sponsored. I am not affiliated. I love Maria's work. It's amazing. If you guys are drawn to these cards, if they speak to you, I strongly encourage you to check her stuff out. She's incredible. So let's find out kind of the bigger spiritual lesson here. What is the bigger spiritual lesson? I mean, there's not a lot of bigger spiritual lessons beyond the Temperance and the Tower card combined. Let's admit that, but still. Okay. We've got Chaos, which is the version of the Tower card. It's Mars, who is sitting in the 15th degree, which is like the Ides of March kind of energy of Cancer. It's Chaos, Pandora's box. And then we have Limbo and Temperance. You're kidding me. Unfreaking believable. You can't make this shit up, guys. Look at this. Both of them. Just on repeat. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at Chaos and Limbo. Chaos puts us into this state of maybe, maybe not. And why? Because we're all trying to learn these life lessons. We are trying to find that balance. Now, with Chaos and life lessons here, I'm actually brought more to Uranus being in Taurus. And the life lessons that we're learning from that is that nothing that we think is stable is stable. So we can try and conjure stability, but we're going to continue to put ourselves into this ideation that does not exist. It sucks. So it's asking us to take a look at how chaos sticks us into these situations. How do we get stuck in these in-between states of where do I go from here? What do I do now? How can we let ourselves out of the box? How can we take a look at everything that is contained within the box and say, you know what? I know that a lot of people are going to think this is bad. This is bad, bad, bad. Like I like to say all the time, bad news bears. This is bad news bears, guys. We've got skulls and spiders and bats, but we also have butterflies and stars and magic. What we choose to perceive it as is what it becomes. That is the nature of conjuring. So if we're conjuring chaos, we're conjuring the destruction. But if we look to the mystery and the magic and the wisdom, we can see that this in-between state that we exist within, this limbo, is actually teaching us how to conjure our actual passions. So let's find out where we can go from here, because I don't even know if any of this is making sense. I'm just going with the energy. Yeah. Crossroads. I mean, we're back in that limbo energy. Where can we go from here? Where can't we go from here? This is the card number 22. We've got Neptune and Earth energy. Neptune is the ruling energy in the stars during this. Neptune at the 29th degree. A crossroads point. Where can we go from here? Depends on each one of us. Are we going to weave illusions, or are we going to weave a new reality? Is a new reality an illusion, or is it the truth? What do you determine to be the truth? It's entirely subjective. What else, Spirit? Can you tell us a little bit more about the crossroads? All right, we have astral travel here. Now, I don't want to speak to the actual gift of astral travel too much. That is something that if you guys have that gift or are drawn to looking into, I strongly encourage it. Please use your discernment with anything. But what this is speaking to me more about is about the nature of the cosmic energy. If astral travel is the crossroads that we're at, we're at the crossroads of astral travel, okay? So where can't we go? It's like being the hummingbird or being the dragonfly. Which direction can't we go? And that can be overwhelming because now you can go any direction. But if you think to the old mariners, the Vikings and the explorers, and 3333 on my clock, if you think to those who braved the seas, uncharted, what did they use? They used the stars. They were astral traveling. They charted their course based off of the night sky. As this eclipse comes in, we can chart or conjure a new course based off of the sky, off of our place within the greater whole, but off of our true north. That true north that is standing at opposition to all of this, asking us to rebalance ourselves and see that we don't have to be who everyone says that we are, and we don't have to be just this individual that has nothing to do with that. We can find a way to meld them together. We can bring them together into one. Chaos and upheaval. Tower moments. When you're in it, it's sticky. It's difficult. It's hard to get out. It's hard to see outside of it. Does that mean that we can't get ourselves out of it, though? Not really. This energy is asking us to conjure our way out, to decide that we're going to go a new direction. We're going to embody the fullness of who we are. We're going to take a chance on ourselves. I want to get one final closing card from the Death Doula Oracle. Spirit, what is one final message for the collective for this eclipse? How do we move forward from here? Where can we go? What would you have us know? We have visual mantra. This visual mantra, it's like the opening of this message when I talked about the lunar eclipse, the penumbral lunar eclipse, March 25th. That image that I had of this land that I have never been in, but my soul recognizes. It's about the feeling of it. It's about the feeling of it. So we create the vision, we create the visual of it. That's why people use vision boards. But it's asking you to use your eyes to see through a new lens. Make what you see your reality. See through all your eyes and make that your truth. When you're blindfolded, you see clearer than you see at any other point in time. When you see through the lens of love, you see that it does not matter status or station or ideation or notion or anyone else's projections or anything. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is the love that you feel in your heart. And that love is where the passion becomes the ring of fire and your life takes off. That's what this eclipse holds the potential for, if we so choose it. And now I am going to go because it sounds like there is just chaos outside, which there is. There is chaos outside. We have another high winds day, and it happens to be citywide cleanup where I live. And so everybody has all of their excess stuff. Like we have couches out on our boulevard right now. And it is, the wind is just blowing everything everywhere. It's crazy. So yeah, sometimes things need to be blown away for the new to come in, just like the door got blown open. There is new being blown in. That was really cool. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that this, just made sense, maybe? I don't know. At a bare minimum, I hope that you guys enjoyed spending this time with me and all of the chaos with my dogs. And I just want to say thank you again for being here. Thank you for the incredibly warm and loving welcome back that I have received from all of you guys. It warms my heart, it helps my soul, and it eases my mind. So without further ado, I'm going to leave you guys here. I love you all. Thank you again. Thank you to your guides, my guides, the Great Spirit, our ancestors, and the cosmic energies and teachers that are out there helping us to heal, to grow, and to become better so that this world can become better. Thank you for the collective, both on this channel and outside of it. Thank you for life. Just thank you. All right, my loves, here's where I leave you. I will see you when I see you. Bye. It's